Welcome to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So I posted a video about the Russian in the U.S. video, and I just want to do a quick follow-up. Thanks for the comments regarding my Russian. I guess, in fact, towards the end, he was talking about the enemy within, kind of like the Army, be all you can be. Yeah, same type of thing. Had an interesting question. So for all you that are watching that have served in the military, was there a recruiting ad that actually captured your attention when you were a youth, and did you decide to join the military? Well, not because of the ad, but was it influential? So kind of just put that down at the bottom. I was told to do a poll, so I think I'll check that out. Okay, so why am I here today? Well, one of the things that I've been asked about is the January 6th commission. What are my thoughts on that? Well, to start with, how does this actually affect the Biden administration? Well, actually, it could have quite a bit of an effect when it comes to 2022 and then again in 2024. So that's why I think it's pertinent to talk about. So what I wanted to do was just take a few minutes, talk about the pros, the cons, and where I think it's going to go. Do I personally think there should be a January 6th commission? That's a pretty tough question. So let me give you some pros and cons, and let's talk about it at the end. Well, the reason not to, because that's what we typically are watching right now. It's a complete line of Republicans who are talking about why we should not. You have Majorie Taylor Greene, and her big comment is like, well, we shouldn't investigate January 6th. We need to be investigating BLM and Antifa because that was a whole lot worse. So that's kind of like a red herring. It's like, oh, okay. Well, don't worry about this one because I'd rather do this one. So that's her argument. Every time you see her on the House floor, that's her argument. Actually, out of all the Republicans so far, Mitch McConnell had the best argument. And I got some notes to here. And he says that 100 people have already been charged. Law enforcement investigation is still ongoing. 100 more will probably be charged. There's bipartisan commissions already investigating the stuff. So from his perspective, there has been, currently is, and will be committees within Congress investigating this. So what kind of facts or information would a independent commission come up with that they're not already doing? So that's his argument. Kevin McCarthy has kind of said that the scope is too narrow. So he's not really saying anything that Mitch McConnell is saying, but he's kind of going with what Majorie Taylor Greene said. So what are the pros? Well, interesting enough, I did some research to try to find if I can find somebody outside of Congress who's talking about the pros and cons of a commission, and there's nothing. So I had to go and listen to a bunch of basically Democrats, a couple of Republicans, and just see what they said about what's the pros. And what I took from that was that there's a comparison between 9/11 and 1/6. And what they're talking about there is with 9/11, they did an independent commission. The American population the American public needed to know the truth. Well, we can argue whether or not that's appropriate for January 6th. But however, they said that it went through, it independently looked at all the information, found all the facts, gave all the evidence, and made concrete recommendations that were now implemented into law. And I find the second part of that the most interesting. So that's what they say. So H.R. 3233, which passed the House 2 days ago, is designed to create a commission, and the commission would be an independent bipartisan commission to investigate the relative facts and circumstances around just January the 6th. Has nothing to do with prior to or any of that. It's just January 6th. And like I said, it passed the House. Let's see, there was like 254, 173 nay, 7 no votes. Democrats voted, straight across the board for it. There was 35 Republicans that voted against it. Why the Republicans are voting against it? You can argue. Is it fear of Trump? I think that's one thing. Another thing is that having a January 6th commission is not beneficial in 2022 for Republicans. Because no matter what it comes out of, it's a commission's not going to come out and say this was Black Lives Matter who did it, that I've heard. You're not going to have a commission that says this was an Antifa staged event, which I've also heard people say. It's going to come out and say that, these were Trump supporters, or a majority were Trump supporters, at least the 100 have been arrested were Trump supporters, and that the Republicans are trying to cover it up and that type of stuff. So it wouldn't be beneficial for Republicans to see this go through. There is mis and disinformation abound on both sides. It was funny, and I'll throw it up on the screen. I saw a thing, was talking with the Secretary of Defense Miller during the time of President Trump on January 6th. And the Reuters byline was that, ex-Pentagon chief says Trump never called. Well, let's listen to what he actually said.
Mr. Miller, you were the acting Secretary of Defense on January 6th. Did President Trump, as the Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Armed Forces, call you during the January 6th attack to ensure the Capitol was being secured? Mr. Miller.
No, I had all the authority I needed from the President to fulfill my constitutional duties.
Did you speak with President Trump at all as the attack was unfolding?
On January 6th?
Yes.
No, I did not. I didn't need to. I had all the authority I needed and knew what had to happen. I knew what had to happen.
So you can see that, Trump never called, but Miller's very clear that he didn't need Trump to call. And then when Maloney asked him again, well, did Pence? And he's like, well, Pence gave us an update. But again, you can see how very, very partisan this line of discussion was. She was not going to take Miller's answer. So you've got that type of misinformation going on one side, and then the other side, you've got just as much. So I don't think it's going to pass the Senate. I mean, they need 10 votes, 10 Republican votes in the Senate. I don't think they're going to get that. Molly Reynolds with the Brookings Institute made a very great comment. She says, this is something beyond what Congress can do for itself. And I think that's true. So my personal opinion, I think that we ought to have a January 6th commission, period. Do I think that President Trump designed the insurrection? No. However, I do think he's culpable in a lot of his comments and so forth. That's why we had it. Do I think it was an insurrection? Yes, I think that those were individuals who were going in trying to disrupt the functions of government. Do I think that, as Majorie Taylor Greene stated, that BLM and Antifa were insurrectionists in the riots that they did outside of D.C.? No, I don't think that's an insurrection. Do I think those are riots? Absolutely. I think that the individuals who were involved in those should be arrested and should be tried. However, I don't think they should be tried for sedition, where the people who went into the Capitol with the purposes of finding Speaker Pelosi, finding Vice President Pence, taking them out and putting them in the guillotine, trying to disrupt the counting of the vote. They were doing things against democracy. So let me know your comments. Put them down below. Do you think there should be a January 6th commission? Don't just say yes or no. If you say no, there should not, tell me where I'm wrong. Give me a sentence of why you think there should be. If you want to comment and just put yes or no, that's fine too. But I'd like to see some discussion. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me why there should be one. My view is we should have one, so tell me why we shouldn't have one. So, thanks for watching.